If you're doing outbound or sales forecasting, your team's biggest constraint a lot of the times isn't effort or talent. It's whether your CRM data is accurate enough to help scale your sales, or is that the one constraint that is holding your team back? That's what we're going to cover in today's video, because when CRM data decays, you don't just waste touches. You literally manufacture fake pipeline, bad routing, and just bad decisions for your sales team. That's where we're going to cover three things. First is the 3 decay constraints that are creating a revenue leak in your company. Second is a plain English way to estimate the actual cost that this problem is creating. And then third, we're going to cover the safest possible way to actually get full visibility on this problem in a sandbox so nothing touches your live CRM. And just to be clear, solving this big constraint shouldn't always be your top priority. Right? If you're early stages of your company, you have a small database, you don't really do that much outbound volume, this is not going to be your biggest constraint to solve. But if you do have real volume inside of your CRM, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 plus records, this is one of those problems that gets very expensive fast if you don't actually solve it. And a lot of the times, most companies don't even know that they have this problem. What happens is pretty simple when you look at it directly. CRMs decay by default, right? People change jobs every single month. Emails expire, phone numbers get reassigned. A lot of the times the records are getting duplicated inside of your CRM, fields are going missing. A lot of things are happening automatically by default without you even knowing it. So if every quarter you look at your CRM and you realize, hey, it looks pretty clean, a lot of the time it is not going to stay that clean unless something or somebody is actively maintaining your CRM data. This is a lot like having taxes. Every year the bill is going to change, not because you did something wrong, but because life changes and time changes things. The first step of paying taxes is never let's just pay it. It's how much do we actually owe this year? How can we get visibility on how much we actually owe? Because if you don't have visibility on how much you owe the IRS, you're either overpaying and wasted effort, or you're underpaying and you have to deal with a bigger problem later. This is a lot like your CRM, right? The very first step is getting visibility on how big this problem is, right? We don't know how big it is for your specific company. It could be this small, it could be this big, but the bigger it is, the more expensive this problem is. And again, this is what I would recommend solving for your biggest constraint to solve right now. And here's where this revenue leak usually comes from. It's a couple things. Number one is stale contact data, right? Wrong emails, phone numbers, outdated roles. The second is duplicates inside of your CRM, right? This is so common. If one person is in multiple companies or multiple records, right? That's a problem to solve that is not helpful for your sales team. And then number three is the missing fields inside of your CRM. This breaks personalization, it breaks routing. Again, this is another problem to be solved inside of your CRM. So when we run decay scans across anonymized B2B databases and CRMs, the same pattern usually shows up pretty consistently. It's common to see that inside of most B2B companies, if you have B2B records, 38% of the contact data is stale, 22% are duplicates, 40% are missing critical fields for personalization, routing, for actually finding the right person. It's lots of small compounding percentages that ultimately add up and cost you massively. So since 1/3 of your CRM right now is probably either stale, duplicated, or incomplete, what that means, that translates to roughly 1/3 of your outbound efforts being completely wasted before copy or strategy ever comes into play. 1/3 of routing decisions are off, 1/3 of attribution gets messy, 1/3 of pipeline reporting degrades. These bad inputs are creating fake pipeline inside of B2B company. That's the tax, and yes, it compounds. And if you'd like to audit this manually inside of your own CRM, here's how you do that. Pull 100 random records, verify them, check duplicates, check missing fields. It might take you 20, 30 minutes. And that works as a sample just to get initial visibility. But the downside is that you're still guessing how big the actual problem is. So that's basically the version of you doing your taxes yourself. It's doable, it just costs you a lot of time, and you're probably going to miss what actually matters most. On the other hand, a full CRM diagnostic is the equivalent of hiring a CPA. We don't hire CPAs because we're lazy. We hire them because we want certainty, we want less risk, and we want fewer surprises when we actually have to pay the bill. And that's what this decay scan is. It's essentially a sandbox preview of your CRM data, the before, the after, full visibility on how big this problem is without touching your live CRM, right? It's going to scan the full database and it's going to give you a score. How much of your contacts are stale? how many are duplicates, how many are actually missing important fields. This way, there's no guessing at all when you're deciding how to solve this problem. It's completely free and it doesn't force any changes to your CRM, right? It's not a commitment. All it is visibility and a measurement of your CRM data. What you might see is that, look, this is a major leak. And based off of our sales data, this is the biggest constraint for me as the founder or yourself to solve immediately, because this will make the biggest impact solving this one constraint. So if you do want to know how much revenue leakage is hiding inside of your CRM right now, book a Decay scan below. It takes about 10 minutes. It's completely sandboxed. Nothing changes inside of your CRM without your approval. What you're going to get is a full Decay score. You're going to get a before and after breakdown of your data. And the main thing that you're going to get is, of course, visibility. That's the whole play. First, find out if this is your biggest constraint to solve. And then, of course, if it is, solve it. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next one.